But let's throw up that intro card. Knock on wood, it's working, and indeed it is. We have Tlaxtlan Soothsayer bringing the Empire against VM Crabling and the High Elves, round 1. Now, starting with the Empire army led by Soothsayer, let's see what our forces in blue have brought to the field of battle. Starting with the infantry, looks like we're going to have 1, 2, 3 units of swordsmen. We're going to have spearmen with shields. It looks like 4 of them. We have the silver bullets right here. And then we're going to have a single unit of outriders out here vanguarded in front. I'm sure they'll get deployed somewhere else, but nice armor-piercing, quick missile cav. We're going to have Demogryph Knights. One of them with halberds here is going to be the Royal Altdorf Griffites. And then on the right flank of this Empire formation, we're going to see a second unit of Demogryph Knights with some Empire Knights accompanying them into battle. Other than this, we have the heroes and a single artillery piece. The artillery piece will not be the Sunmaker this time around. It is going to be a simple old great cannon. So it looks like Soothsayer not trying to bring the same build twice, anticipating maybe his opponents may be trying to counter the build they saw used so successfully last week. For the leadership, we have a Jade Wizard on top of a horse with Earthblood and nothing else. And then we have an Arch Lector with Soulfire and the Shield of Faith and the Hammer of Sigmar. So, very interesting loadout here from a Soothsayer's army. Let's go take a look at the High Elves brought by VM Crabling. Now, for the High Elves, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of spearmen, I guess. No, just kidding. 2 silver and guard and 3 spearmen. We are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 units of archers. He's got some Dragon Princess on the left flank and the Fireborn on the right flank. Now, for the heroes, we do have a Moondragon up in the air, and that Moondragon will be accompanying Alariel on top of her eagle. Now, Alariel will have the Star of Averlorn, along with Arcane Conduit, Tempest, Earthblood, Foz Protection, and the Shield Stone of Isha. Now that rounds out the High Elf forces, so we're just waiting on the players here to get started, and looking at the troop count, going to be relatively even with blue in 865 models, and our red player bringing 814. Yeah, Pugnobond, the idea is to cast all games. However, I don't think I'm going to be casting the losers bracket live, so I'll be asking those players to send me the replays. And once we, maybe get ahead of the losers bracket, we'll go back and start casting. But if I have everybody wait for all of those matches, I don't think we'll get done in time. So I'm going to cast all of the matches in the top bracket and the winners bracket, and then as many as we can in losers bracket, but not going to have them wait for us to get down there before they start playing. By the way, guys, just, some shameless self-promotion and stuff. If you have friends who are interested in the game, on the fence about the game, make sure they know about today's tournament. Tell them to tune in. I'll do my best to make sure the content is great, but I'm sure these players will not let down in the skill level that they'll have on display. We'll have some awesome games ahead of us with the bracket this stacked. It's a good time to try to get other people involved if they want to see what this game is like at the top tier level. Now, the Real Milkman, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it, my friend. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Alright, the battle has begun, ladies and gentlemen. Gamecock Lock, thank you for the follow. I have to say, the Sunmaker might have been fairly useful in this battle, taking care of the infantry and stuff, but I do think the Sun Dragon and Alariel would be able to take it out pretty quickly. Cow84, thank you for the follow. But it does look like both sides just kind of pushing forward, moving towards each other. High Elf's going to be doing it a bit, I hope more patiently, but obviously they have some pressure on them in the form of that Empire Great Cannon, and that Great Cannon is going to be attacking their very, very valuable cavalry. So, nice pressure, nice mixed unit tactics here from the Empire, I have to say. Silver Bullets coming up here to get a little aggressive, throw down some suppressing fire. And then we have the Outriders coming out, but the High Elf Archers being nicely used to tell them to keep their distance. So far, neither player getting any damage done against the other, at least any, I don't know, recognizable damage. And, yeah, we're off to a good start. I do like this Empire army, but can never discount the High Elves, especially with a Lariel and a Dragon. And these Dragon Princes are no chumps. And look at the dodging here by the Dragon Princes. Every single cannonball that's being fired at them, Crabling is just deftly maneuvering from side to side and allowing them to fire past him without doing any harm. Looks like he's going... Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, Cannon's having a hard time targeting him right now. Soothsayer's going to start pulling back some of his spearmen, perhaps trying to redraw the line. He doesn't want these Dragon Princes getting into the back line. And honestly, even if the High Elves were able to get in the back line, I think they would be in a bit of a pickle. These Demogryph Knights, I worry, will outmatch the Dragon Princes, but I guess only time will tell, and it's all about how it's played in the end. Outrider's getting some pot shots off against the Moondragon. The Moondragon is diving in, trying to get on top of them, and it looks like it's going to successfully get a charge off, kill some models, do some damage, but now there's Spearmen coming in, and the High Elves don't want to be in this engagement, I would say. I mean, getting some good damage on top of the Outriders, at least. The Fireborn have False Protection on top of them, and they're, you know, holding most of the Empire forces in place, but I do worry that they're not going to be able to survive long enough. Here comes the Star Dragon Breath, and it's going down, doing a lot of damage on top of the Demogryph Knights. Demogryph Knights do have an Earthblood on top of them, and we'll see if they can do anything. I would have liked to have seen that breath attack come in from the side angle here, just because it probably would have killed some more models, and now it does look like the High Elves have lost their Dragonborn, and the Empire has taken some damage, but I would definitely say that trade goes in the Empire's favor. And then over here, oh no, I completely missed it, but these Dragon Princes getting killed off. It looks by Spearmen, perhaps. I'm sure there was some Demogryph Knight play at some point there that I'm missing, but that's a shame. I'm guessing Crabling's focus was so much on the micro to the right flank engagement that he neglected that left flank, and now things are looking like they may be going pear-shaped for the High Elves in a very quick fashion, because at this point, you know, oh, look, the High Elf Spearmen are pulling back to help meet shield for the Moondragon, but the Empire is coming in hot with its cab. Some nice micro from Soothsayer, pushing these guys around, I'm guessing, to come back in and try to block the High Elves in place, Alariel and the Moondragon. And then if he can pin him in place here, I think it should be a GG from there. Looking across the battlefield, you know, the High Elf Infantry, the Silver Guard are outclassing the Swordsmen significantly. But the Silver Bullets here, nice angle of fire. The Silver Guard are in combat with the Spearmen, and the Silver Bullets are just continuing to fire away at their flank. That magic resistance doesn't matter against them since they do have magical attacks. Over here, another big breath going down, this time hitting the Royal Altar of Griffites, and it did some nice damage. Will it be enough to cause any kind of terror rout, though? Yep, there goes one terror rout on top of those Demogryph Knights. The Moondragon still looking very, very healthy at the moment, so like I said, you never know with the High Elves. If the Moondragon and Alariel are around, there's always a small chance that they can pull something off, pull something out of the hat. Looks like the Moondragon is going after the Archlector now, getting some nice hits, causing some terror on top of the Swordsmen. But now, as you can see, the Outriders are just sitting here, just in range to poke and prod at the Moondragon. Going to put enough pressure on it to where it's going to think twice and start pulling back. Over here, Empire Knights charging into the Fireborn. The Fireborn are hanging on by a thread, but they significantly outclass the Empire Knights with their stats. So I think they'll be able to survive long enough for the Moondragon and Alari to help kill these guys off. And these archers may live to fight another day. Balance of power is slightly in favor of the Empire, but not an overwhelming lead by any stretch of the imagination just yet. And another win for the High Elves, as it looks like the Great Cannon is getting chased down by some High Elf Spearmen. Crabling trying to sandwich him in there. And then also over here, you know, Silver Bullets running for dear life from the Silver Guard, who are being chased in turn by these Empire Spearmen. But coming over here to the big engagements, this is where we're going to see the Archlector continuing to take some serious damage. But it looks like Soothsayer is starting to pull back in, try to regroup and get his formation in order, as I do think he's in the lead here in terms of points and, you know, important units on the battlefield. He does still have all these Demogryph Knights with him, but it can really turn against him here if he doesn't play it smart. So I agree with his decision right now in terms of pulling out and trying to kind of rethink the engagements and get regrouped. Over here, Alariel going in, getting charged by some Demogryph Knights. Looks like the Moondragon is going to use that opportunity for a breath, but Soothsayer, now aware of the breath situation, I mean, I'm sure he is aware at the beginning, but now seeming to wise up to it, is going to deftly maneuver his Demogryph Knights out of harm's way before they can take too much damage with that breath. If they would have blobbed up on top of that Moondragon, like I think VM Crabling was hoping they would, he could have sealed the fate of the Empire right there with one well-placed breath. But oh, here comes a big engagement. We have Terror kicking in on the High Elf Spearman from the Royal Outdoor Cryptites, but Star of Avalorn is popped. The Moondragon and Alariel are both in combat with these Demogryph Knights now. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to terror rout them or kill them off just yet, but they did get a lot of good damage in and took very little damage in return. But that will be the last Star of Avalorn for the High Elf, so there's a silver lining for the Empire. Meanwhile, over here, we do see the Silver Guard in combat with the Silver Bullets. Oh, they're going to rout right off the field, and the Silver Bullets will live to fight another day. Over here, the cannon is not so lucky. Alright, looks like the High Elves are trying to pull back to their infantry lines, or sorry, to their archer lines. We have Alariel the Radiant and the Moondragon diving into these spearmen who are in combat with some archers. Terror's going to kick in on them immediately. A nice pickup, and both of these players really demonstrating very keen target prioritization. Neither one of them really getting into bad engagements, just focusing on periphery units as much as they can and clawing together any advantage they possibly can. So right now the Empire does have numbers on its side, but the High Elves, I can't really stress enough, this Moondragon and Alariel still being so healthy and on the field of battle, while the Empire doesn't have a cannon anymore to shoot him down. The Outriders are almost out of ammunition, so not nearly enough to kill him. The Silver Bullet still being on the field is definitely a nice pickup for them, so we'll see if they can take advantage of that or not. But yeah, once again, another nice play here from Crabling, just hitting these swordsmen and then pulling right back out again. But now it looks like he's investing in the engagement. Alariel and the Moondragon hitting the healthiest unit of Demogryph Knights, doing some nice damage. And oh man, can the High Elves do this? But oh, look at this. We do see the Moondragon starting to take some significant damage. Its healing cap is right there. Earthblood upgraded coming down here from Alariel the Radiant. And it looks like the Moondragon's actually going to take off into the air and try to stay out of combat for a minute. See if he can regain some combat effectiveness with that Earthblood. Yeah, at this point it looks like the High Elves are starting to run out of options. The Empire is really just kind of starting to take over the battlefield. The High Elves look like they're pretty much out of infantry at this point. Shattered across the board. You have one unit of Silver Guard here, but I don't know if they're going to be hanging on much longer. And now over here, you're going to see the Moondragon diving in, but the Demogryph Knights are on top of it. And look at this. You can see from the, the order arrows that Crabling is just pushing all of his units out to get in front of this Moondragon. A lot of new players will just give the attack order, and that will inevitably allow it to get up in the air. But because Crabling is microing some of his cav units in front of this, because Soothsayer is microing some of his cavalry in front of Crabling's Moondragon, he's preventing it from getting up in the air. And as long as he can kill this Moondragon, it's going to be game over. But ooh, would you look at that? Alariel the Radiant going after the Jade Wizard, doing a lot of damage, routing him. But it looks like she's trying to come over here and save the Moondragon if she can. But I doubt Soothsayer will fall for that bait and focus on Alariel, allowing the Moondragon to escape. And as you can see, it still looks like he's sending more units over here to get on top of the Moondragon. And now the Silver Bullets have come into play. They're going to start shooting the Moondragon, and I think we're going to see army losses start kicking in here momentarily. Yeah, Moondragon isn't the best in melee combat. Can still hit hard, but yeah. Yeah, that was a very good game to start off the series here. I like Soothsayer's army a lot. Like the leadership combination isn't something I see too often, but it really, the cost-effective and cheap nature of it really allowed him to focus on bringing a very elite cavalry here. You know, 3 Demogryph Knights and an Empire Knight. That's a pretty tough cav. And the thing is, Demogryph Knights, even just the regular variant in my experience, can trade very well against Dragon Princes because these guys have such high armor piercing, whereas the Dragon Princes really don't. So all in all, I like that a lot. And one thing I always want to call out is just the multiple levels of fire pressure. You know, he has long range with the cannon here. He has mid-range with the silver bullets, and then he has the, you know, the harrying force, the skirmishers, with great mobility in the form of the outriders here. Now, for the high elves, they did have some archers as well, and I think, you know, for the most part, that's enough for high elves. But I think the main disadvantage here for the high elves is, you know, they just really didn't outclass the Empire hard enough in any of the categories to shut them down. And what I mean by that is the infantry. Yeah, their infantry is better, especially with the Silver and Guard, but it wasn't so good to where they can just kind of crush the Empire infantry. I think Rangers, for instance, instead of Silver and Guard might have paid off a bit better there, but obviously I'm not as good as Crabling, so I'll leave that to him to decide. And the Archers, while they can be very, very strong, they just really weren't able to get a lot of focus fire damage in. And I think that is a result of the Empire Cav being so powerful that game. They only had to deal with 2 Dragon Princes, one of which was dealt with very quickly. The other one was dealt with pretty quickly, but came back into the late game to still get some good value. But yeah, just the 4 Archers, you know, all of the High Elf infantry was going to be busy because they are outnumbered by the Empire infantry. And then you add on top of that the fact that the Empire cavalry outnumbers the High Elf cavalry 2-1. That makes it very hard to protect these 4 archers, so I just feel like they didn't get the most value in that fight. Cannon didn't get the most value either, but, you know, I think, you know, good shout out to Crabling there for keeping the pressure up, and honestly, for the most of the game, just making sure the cannon didn't do anything and the silver bullets didn't do anything, because they were running away for a lot of the game there. So, great game. Let's go ahead, throw up that army blocker, and get to the next one. Okay, so here it is, HW 6 playoffs, and we have Soothsayer with the Greenskins this time taking on VM Crabling and the Beastmen. It's round 2 of their best of 3, so let's see who continues on to the winner's bracket and who will go to the loser's bracket. It is currently match point for Soothsayer. Tlaxtlan Bartsley, thank you very much for the follow. Alright, now let's go ahead and get to it. Let's start with the Beastmen this time, and they do have the advantage in the balance of power right off the bat. Now, for our red player, we're going to have Ungor Spearman herd with shields. We got some Gore herd with shields, and it looks like the ROR as well. Cotignapel, I'm sorry for butchering your name, but thank you for the follow. We're going to have 3 Gore herd with shields, including the Blackhorns Ravagers in the center there, and a second unit of Ungor Spearmen with shields. Now, let's go check out the periphery units really quick here, and it looks like he's going for a heavy Vanguard mobility build here, which I generally like against the Greenskins. We're going to have 2 Centaurs, one with throwing axes, one regular, and 2 Poison Warhounds on the right flank. And then on the left flank, it looks like we'll have a similar combination, but some slight variations. Once again, we'll have the 2 Poison Warhounds and a Centaur, but instead of throwing axes on this side, we're going to have the Sons of Goros, the Regiment of Renown, Centaurs with great weapons. Burdinator, thank you very much for the follow, my friend. Now, other than this, we're going back to the leadership and the monsters, and we have the Butchers of Kalkagard, terror-causing, regenerating cows of doom, and then we are going to have a Bray Shaman of the Wild, going to be bringing, oh my goodness gracious, Bray Scream and Traitorkin with the Jagged Dagger and Bestial Surge. Who needs Manticore summons, am I right? But you do need them Chaos Spawn summons, and we have them here with Morgore the Shadowgave, who is bringing both of his summons and nothing else. So that's going to round out our Beastmen for us, and let's take a look at what the Greenskins have brought to the field for us. Now, the Greenskins will have 2 Goblin Wolf Riders and a Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archer. for that Vanguard missile cav. We're going to have 3 units of Gobos, and then it looks like 4 units of Savage Orc Biggins. Very nice infantry choice against the Beastmen. We're going to have Orc Boar Boys in the back line. Looks like 3 of them total, and 1 wolf goblin a goblin wolf rider. I can't speak right now, my apologies. We're gonna have a single unit of goblin archers. We got an Orc Shaman. Orc Shaman's gonna be bringing Fist of Gork, and here we go. No, sorry, Brain Burster, and here we go. With Power of Dewa, we got a goblin big boss here with They Need Stab, and he's gonna be on foot. And then for the rest of the army, we have a giant accompanying Scarsnake. Fermented Fungi and Spited a Bad Moon are going to be on top of him, as well as Get Back here. So let's see what happens. It looks like the Beastmen are already trying to flex their mobility muscles, coming out, pressuring these archers to push back. But obviously they're not going to want to continue forward as they see a bunch of Savage Orc Biggins in front of them. So right now, Crabling doing a good job in terms of just, looking like he's trying to pressure the flanks, keep his formation with the front line pushing forward. The Greenskins clearly just coming up here and taking this high ground, and I think they're probably going to try to just sit up on it and then pressure the Beastmen towards them with their missile cav. But we do have to see. In my experience, Boar Boys can have a really tough time against Centaurs and Poison Warhounds, and it looks like the Beastmen are going to take an advantage of an opportunity here, hit the Goblins, but they need to pull out of there before they get countercharged by all these other units. And there goes a Brain Bursta, going to do some nice damage, not the most damage, but still a good amount. And the Beastmen are now going to be rushing into this flank. Butchers of Kalkengard getting into combat with some Savage Orc Biggins, and yeah, we'll see what happens from here. But Savage Orc Biggins getting on top of the Sons of Goros, and the Sons of Goros need to get the hell out of there. It looks like they got the memo. Poison Warhounds are going to have to dive in to make the ultimate sacrifice for them, though. Over here, we have a Traitorkin going down, putting down some serious damage on top of these Orc Boar Boys and debuffing their speed. So that Bray Shaman getting in there doing quite a lot of work. And now the Beastmen have successfully broken the right flank of the Greenskins, so pushing hard with the Beastmen left flank here, and we'll see if they can keep that pressure up. Meanwhile, the Beastmen have done not well on the right flank, and the Greenskins have very convincingly crushed that side. Looks like the Beastmen losing those 2 units of infantry. We have Poison Warhounds in the back line trying to get pressure down, but they're getting slaughtered by a combination of Savage Orc Biggins, Orc Boar Boys, and the Missile Cav. And the balance of power is now right to dead even in the balance of power. Over here, we do have a Goblin Big Boss fighting against Morgore the Shadowgave. Seems to be doing well at first, but I think Morgore should be able to pull it back as long as he keeps up the fight and regenerates those hit points. But the Orc Shaman can potentially turn around and double team him from there if he wants. Oh, but there goes the Goblin Big Boss, and now it's going to be the Orc Shaman versus Morgore the Shadowgave, who just had a Fermented Fungi popped on top of himself. So he is routing at the moment. Sorry, not routing, rampaging at the moment. And we'll see if he's able to come back from that or not. Over here, Goreherd getting in combat with Savage Orcs. And this is just looking like it's going to be going to the Greenskins if the Beastmen don't get something going really quick here. However, as I say that, the Beastmen have successfully routed the Orc Shaman. And if they can kill off both of those leadership units, that's going to be a real big win in the Beastmen corner. Skarsnik still doing well, fighting away. Chaos Spawn helping pin down a lot of these key units. We see the Goreherd coming in to fight. The Butchers of Kalkengard doing some good job with their terror routing. They Need Stabbing has gone down on top of the Bray Shaman, who is in turn chasing down the Orc Shaman and potentially the Goblin Big Boss, but it looks like he's changed his mind. It doesn't look like he's going that way anymore. He's worried he'll get caught by these Orc Boar Boys. So I guess we'll see what happens. The Orc Boar Boys are closing the gap to get on top of him now. Meanwhile, across the field of battle, looking in on the other forces, the Beastmen still have some Chaos Spawn that are in combat with the Giant, keeping him busy. And as long as the Giant is not smashing down Morgore, that's a victory for the Beastman, but it looks like the Giant will not be held back, and he's coming for him. He wants Morgore, and he wants him dead now. Goblin Archers getting some good value there. You know, they've been relatively untouched throughout the battle and still been able to apply a lot of missile pressure. Over here, Centaurs getting in combat with the Orc Boar Boys. But we have some Ungor Spearmen, Poison Warhounds getting into combat with the Bray Shaman, and it looks like the Centaurs are going to shatter, but the Beastmen may still be able to rout both of these Orc Boar Boys in the end. But with that said, the balance of power is really swinging against the Beastmen, and it's because, even though I missed it, we saw Morgore, well, it looks like Morgore the Shadow got stomped pretty hard by Skarsnik and the Giant. He does regenerate, he is routing, there's a chance he can heal up, but even if he does heal up again, I'm just really doubtful about what the Beastman's chances are of taking out this Giant now. Giant's going to be very difficult to deal with, not to mention all of the Greenskin Infantry, and it looks like that's going to be a GG, and Soothsayer is going to win the first series 2-0 against Crabling. So congratulations to Soothsayer there. I mean, Crabling is not out of this just yet, people. Keep that in mind. He is going down the loser's bracket. So maybe he'll be coming back for some sweet, sweet revenge later in today's tournament. But for now, let's move on. And we're going to be seeing Pacifist Warlord versus RTK Vicious Satsuma. So go to get that lobby up if you guys are listening. And I will be there in just a moment. And looking at the post-battle screen here, you know, I don't think it was lost before it began. The Beastmen were definitely getting some pretty good plays there, getting some impressive pickups, but unfortunately I think there was a bit of overcommitment early on in the battle with the Centaurs, where they took some damage they really didn't need to take. And in the late game, for instance, if he would have had more of that mobility around and more decisively won the large combat against the Orc Boys, I think he very easily could have capitalized on those routes that were initially gotten on the Orc Shaman and the Goblin Big Boss. Maybe even able to chase them off the map. But it just seems like the infantry engagements were really doomed from the start there for the Beastmen. I mean, 4 Savage Orc Biggins could kill all this infantry without a second thought. And then when you add a Giant on top of it, it becomes really painful. And I think the Giant from the beginning was really what was going to be the most difficult for the Beastmen to handle here. They only had 1 unit with any missiles, and it's not the best missile unit to take them down. Like Ungor Raiders would be better at taking down a Giant than Centaurs or throwing axes. But yeah, I mean, just kind of a rough draw there in terms of the infantry engagements, and I think that's the main strength the Greenskins have over the Beastmen in this matchup is just Savage Orc Biggins. Man, so cost efficient, and they trade well against every unit of Beastmen infantry.